So what we're going to look at today is try to put an analog between knowledge workers, knowledge work, and AI. And we're going to focus this around what's called a token. But first, what do we define a knowledge worker being? So the primary function involves creating, processing, or analyzing information. They typically involve managing people or processes. Their day-to-day isn't with the customer, it's in meetings, so in phone calls, it's communicating, it's training, it's managing. If we think about AI versus a person or people output, we can think of knowledge workers typically producing information to solve problems, whether that's them individually or following a standard operating procedure or in a team. They communicate in words or texts. A GPT model can now produce text with a large language model and also voice. And a GPT, their native unit of measure, is called a token. So what is a token? A token is a piece of a sequence of text that an AI model will process. Now this can be incoming or it could be an output. And the reason being is that computers can process numbers a lot better than words. In a really simple example of A, B, and C, we could describe a number, A being 0, B equaling 1, and C equaling 2. Or, with what these larger companies are doing, is they're going to the English dictionary and they're starting at the very, very start and adding numbers to words. So, for example, in the English language, the very, very first letter in the English dictionary is A, so A would get a 0. AA gets 2. Aardvark gets 3, for example. And for more complex words, to break it down even further, we can put it into two different parts. So an example is unhappiness is tokenized into un and then happiness, making it faster for a computer system or for a processor to process that input and output. A really good website is Tick Tokenizer, where you can write in a sentence and it shows you based on different models how it's broken down and how that particular model represents the number. Is when I hover over the word agentic, it's actually broken up into two words. So the agent part relates to the number down the bottom, 18086, and the IC part, the IC part, relates to the 291. So if you're using the token to be an equal measure, we need to work out how many tokens does a person output per day. The more talented or smarter the person in work, the greater the output or the greater the valuable use of their tokens. It depends on the role about the amount of impact. The CEO will have a bigger impact per token than, say, a middle manager. And the reason being is that they're steering the ship. They're moving the business in a certain direction to have a greater impact on the entire organization. If we look at New Zealand, the average salary of a knowledge worker is about $90,000 per year. And for this, we've started to work out what the output per token per day is. And our following assumptions are that we work 8 hours per day, and then half of that productive, where we're communicating with someone either via text or our voice in meetings or in trainings. And we can assume that we do 65 words per minute for both typing and talking. There's about 1.3 tokens per word. So it averages about 20,000 tokens per day. The current cost of token output is only $15 per million tokens. So if the average person is doing 20,000 tokens a day, the AI cost is only 30 cents. Well, the AI cost is only $624 for the entire year versus a $90,000 salary. The cost reduction is obviously significant at 99.86% reduction in cost for a similar output. And obviously the first question everyone should ask is, yeah, but is that today? Can we do any of the knowledge work today? The answer is there are what we call agents. So an agent is an artificial intelligence system that can do knowledge work. So Devin is a good example of a software engineer. It could be a junior software engineer where you give it a task and it goes through and completes that task. We've got LangChain and Jace that already provide value to businesses where agents do meaningful work. If we think about work, it's a rules-based system. You can't just do random stuff at work. You actually are hired to do a a defined output. That's why you've got a job description. But what we're starting to find is a real value is in using augmenting knowledge workers in the day-to-day with general tools to make them significantly more efficient. It's what we call a force multiplier. If you have an A-tier talent in your business and you give them the training and the tools of how to use artificial intelligence, they are about 5 times more efficient for their output. But it also raises the bar for everyone. It will make your C players into A players. And this helps you to reduce your overhead significantly. So when we augment work, it allows our people to be significantly more efficient and effective. And our initial results over the last 18 months resulted in significantly happier staff through an NPS, a 63% reduction in overheads, and an order of magnitude increase in profit. What we found was it was a creativity of people in those roles using AI tools to augment their workflow that produced unparalleled results. They were able to do significantly more work in significantly less time to meet the company's KPIs. And what we found was a large language model or an artificial intelligence coupled with someone who's got experience in a role allow them to be significantly more creative when solving problems. A ChatGPT or equivalent helped to supercharge their work, helped to supercharge their novel ideas to achieve their KPI. By providing those KPIs as a reference points to aim for, those staff were able to hit them in significantly less time than previous years. And if the KPIs are aligned from the top down, it allows for a company to move in a single direction to produce great results. The key part to these results were that all staff were trained in different levels of using an artificial intelligence such as a ChatGPT. And the reason being is if you treat it like a core competency, it can supercharge their workflows. Everyone's working together to achieve their KPIs, which is aligned to the strategy of the company. But what we do is we help train your staff on how to use artificial intelligence to make them more efficient and effective in their day-to-day work.